Pusha T just made a move that shook the industry. He paid millions to break free from Def Jam, all because they wanted to censor Kendrick Lamar's verse on a Clipse track. This isn't just about a song. It's about standing up for artistic integrity and challenging the industry's control. Def Jam's request sparked a major decision. It started with a request, a quiet one behind the scenes. Def Jam reportedly asked Pusha T to get Kendrick Lamar to revise his verse on the Clipse track, Chains and Whips. The label wasn't comfortable with how it sounded and wanted a cleaner version. But for Pusha, that was a line he couldn't cross. They wanted me to ask Kendrick to change his verse, which I was never doing, he said. That moment became the turning point. For Pusha, it wasn't just about one lyric. It was about the principle, about creative freedom, about protecting the voice of a respected artist. Instead of pushing Kendrick to compromise, Pusha made a different call. He chose to protect the vision of the track, even if it meant taking a financial hit. That request from Def Jam didn't just challenge one verse, it challenged the integrity of everything Clipse was building. If you're here for moments where music meets meaning, go ahead and subscribe, because this story only gets deeper. Pusha didn't wait for the label to change their mind. He made his own move, and it cost him millions. Push walked away on his own terms. With 3 albums still left in his contract, Pusha T did something few artists ever do. He bought his freedom. Reports confirmed he paid a 7-figure amount to exit his deal with Def Jam. That's not a small move, it's a career-defining one. His longtime manager, Steven Victor, confirmed the exit, saying the payment was necessary because of creative differences, not personal issues. For most artists, leaving a major label requires waiting out contracts, accepting compromises, or settling behind closed doors. But Pusha made a choice to control his message, even if it came at a high cost. That payment wasn't just about leaving a contract. It was a statement that his creative values were non-negotiable, that when it came to choosing between compromise or commitment, he would always choose the latter. The industry took note because in a world where deals often control direction, Pusha proved ownership is more than a buzzword. Roc Nation welcomed Clipse. After leaving Def Jam, Clipse found a new home, Roc Nation, a label known for giving artists space to lead with their own vision. It wasn't just a business deal. It wasn't fit push. Pusha and No Malice joined a roster that includes top-tier talents who have made lasting cultural impact. And now, their long-awaited album, Let God Sort 'Em Out, produced entirely by Pharrell, is officially set for release on July 11. Even more important, Kendrick Lamar's original verse on Chains and Whips remains untouched. No edits, no interference. Roc Nation didn't just sign a duo, they embraced their values. For fans, this means the upcoming album won't be filtered through anyone else's lens. And for the industry, it shows that creative partnerships still exist. Clipse isn't just making a comeback, they're returning on their own terms, at full strength and with the full support of a platform that values their legacy. This has sparked bigger conversation about artistic freedom. This moment represents more than just a label change. It reveals the larger challenge artists face between self-expression and corporate expectations. When a major label suggests edits to a high-profile verse, it sends a message. Creativity must fit within certain boundaries. For artists like Pusha T and Kendrick Lamar, that's a difficult space to work in. Their music has always pushed limits, invited thought, and sparked conversation. When that's filtered or redirected, something powerful gets lost. The decision to leave Def Jam wasn't just about one track. It was about keeping full creative control. It's a reminder that even the most respected artists still face pressure to conform. But by walking away, Pusha set an example, one that encourages others to prioritize their voice over convenience. And for fans who value authenticity, it's a moment worth celebrating. Because the music we remember most is the music that was never compromised. Kendrick's verse was never the problem. What's most interesting is that Kendrick Lamar's verse on Chains and Whips wasn't even targeting anyone directly. There were no call-outs, no controversy, just sharp lyricism, and still, it caused concern. That says something deeper about perception in the industry. Kendrick's voice carries so much weight, so much presence, that just being part of a record can change how that song is received. For some labels, that kind of influence feels risky, even if no rules are broken. And that's the part that bothered Pusha. He wasn't willing to soften a track that wasn't even crossing any lines. Just because it might spark conversation, the situation became less about lyrics and more about optics. It showed that even when Kendrick says something powerful but fair, it's sometimes treated as too bold. That's not just about him, it's about how honest voices are handled in music today. This isn't new for Pusha. This isn't the first time Pusha T has gone against the current. He's never been the kind of artist to stay quiet when something doesn't sit right. Back in 2018, when he released The Story of Adidon, he bypassed label involvement entirely, choosing to release the song without waiting for approval. Why? Because the message felt too important to delay. Fast forward to now, and it's clear Pusha hasn't changed. He still prioritizes truth in his music. He still values collaboration with artists who speak from a real place. His decision to leave Def Jam over Kendrick's uncensored verse isn't surprising. It's consistent. That kind of consistency earns trust. It shows fans and collaborators alike that when you work with Pusha T, your voice won't be diluted. It will be heard. In a business that often requires compromise, Pusha has built a reputation for standing firm, and that matters more than ever. This is a major statement to the industry. When a high-profile artist like Pusha T decides to end a major contract and move to a different platform, people notice. It's not just a career shift, it's a message to other artists, to label executives, to the fans. It says that creative freedom is still possible, that you can leave the traditional system and not only survive, but thrive. Pusha's decision highlights the importance of long-term vision over short-term comfort. And Kendrick's involvement adds weight. Two of the most respected names in hip-hop just made it clear the message matters more than market strategies. When Clipse releases their new album with Kendrick's original verse intact, it will represent something bigger than just music. It will represent the value of staying true to your art, even when the business side tries to change it. And that message will resonate far beyond this one moment. The labels are paying attention. You can be sure the industry is watching this unfold, not because they're upset, but because they're calculating. If more artists begin choosing independence or alternative routes like Roc Nation, traditional label structures will be forced to change. The old model, where labels guide every lyric, every rollout, may no longer work for artists who want full control. What Pusha and Kendrick have done is demonstrate that it's possible to pivot without losing support, without losing momentum. That kind of shift affects how future contracts are written, how artists negotiate, how they release their music. If you're a label exec, this story isn't just about one artist leaving, it's about the model changing. And if you're an artist watching from the sidelines, this might just be the moment that makes you believe in full ownership again. The album release will be a cultural moment, with Let God Sort Him Out set to drop July 11th. The stakes are high, and so is the excitement. This isn't just another rap album. It's a statement of intent, a creative milestone, and the energy surrounding it is already building fast. Fans know what this project represents. It's more than just Pharrell's production, more than a Kendrick feature. It's the full circle return of Clipse, backed by a label that lets them lead. It's the payoff for standing firm. When the album drops, it won't just be reviewed, it'll be remembered. The story behind its release will be part of the conversation. The decision to walk away from Def Jam, the defense of Kendrick's verse, the alliance with Roc Nation, it all adds context to the music. And that context, it gives the album more meaning, more depth, and more impact than anything Clipse has dropped in over a decade. This is a blueprint for the next generation. What Pusha T just did isn't just legendary, it's instructive. He showed the next generation of artists that creative control doesn't have to be a fantasy, that you can value the message more than the machine, that standing your ground doesn't have to cost your career, it can define it. His exit from Def Jam wasn't an escape, it was a power move rooted in values. And Kendrick's unshakable presence in the story made the message even louder. Together, they reminded us that music means more when it's real. And labels, for all their infrastructure, still need artists with vision. This moment may become a case study, not in rebellion, but in realignment. A signal that the future of music belongs to those who aren't afraid to make bold, respectful decisions that protect their voice. What Pusha did wasn't just for himself, it opened the door for others, and that might be the biggest win of all. Pusha T didn't just leave Def Jam, he left a message behind that in an industry built on control, there are still artists willing to protect the truth, no matter the cost. And Kendrick Lamar, he didn't need to respond. His verse said enough. Together, they didn't just stand their ground, they changed the ground beneath them. If you believe in music that still means something, if you care about the artists who won't compromise to play it safe, this is just the beginning. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what happens next. Because when Let God Sort Him Out drops, the conversation isn't just about music, it's about the future of the culture.